Coach, I saw the comments after you guys came back from your first trip that you were still confident despite the results. I guess what's feeding that confidence? What positive signs did you notice from your team?
Well, we saw some good things. We saw a lot of things that obviously need improvement. We have a lot of new pieces of this team. We've got a couple guys that redshirted last year, but overall, you look. I believe it's like 16 of our 30 guys are new to this roster. So we had a lot of guys out there with some wide eyes, and things start not going their way. They start trying to do too much, and so we had a lot of guys pressing that are going to be key guys for us. I think overall, when you look at our lineup and look at the results, one big thing you can look at is guys that did have a good weekend. We're all returners. Kyle Williamson played well, hit the ball really well. Jordan Schultz, returner, hit the ball really well. Connor Oliver redshirted last year but played center field the year before, hit the ball really well. Lane Biggs pitched really well. Austin Bernstein pitched really well. I mean, all those guys are comfortable. You can tell they've had that added experience, and some of these new guys we brought in are going to be there too. It's just going to take a little bit more of a comfort level. We stressed to the guys playing more for each other. I thought a lot of it was almost like we were back in the cages, and it was just like, oh, it's another at bat in a cage. It's tough to simulate that game situation as much as we want to try. It's tough to do until you get out there. So we are confident. We would like to learn maybe a few more things about our team, and we're going to learn that on a fly. But I guess overall, what's keeping me confident is these guys and their teammates. I mean, we're not last year's team. I've told them I'm sick about talking about last year. We've got a completely different group of guys. I think the key right now is our guys got to stay confident. And that's one big thing they have going for them is we do have a confident group of guys that believe in their abilities. So it's going to come. I told a few of our guys, I remember the feeling last year when we got swept by Mary, or we got beat by Crookston. I had a tough time walking around the halls. I would shelter myself in my office for 2-3 days. Didn't want to talk to anybody. Didn't want to talk to our AD. Didn't want to talk to you guys. I could barely look my own wife in the eye. But I don't feel that right now. I'm happy. I'm happy that we have another opportunity next week, and we're going to go out there and we'll be a different ball club.
Talk about your hitting. How about the arms and the pitches on the mound? Did you like what you saw? I'm sure you had quite a few go this weekend.
Yeah, pitching wise on the mound, we had a couple good things that we saw. Lane Biggs, when you look at the final score of that game, it's tough to see what he did, but Lane came out. I don't know if he threw 5-6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, maybe 4 hits. Threw really, really, really well. I was very pleased in that. And Lane, he was a sophomore, so that's good to see he's making progress. Austin Bernstein had a good game. Probably not his best stuff, but competed. He had the one crooked number, gave up a 3 spot in the 3rd inning maybe, and then he left the game with a couple guys on and they scored. So, Bernie threw well. Jesse Gertson is a guy who's been battling some arm troubles. We had to shut him down in the fall. He battled through it all last year. Jesse didn't walk a guy. He gave up some runs, but Jesse's got a good fastball that runs, and he had 4 or 5 guys beat that ended up being 3-4 hoppers to third that there was nothing we could do about. We couldn't make a play. So I thought those were all good things. Our bullpen, the key right now is confidence. Those guys need to get the confidence back that we had in fall ball when we're playing against our own team. The confidence back when they're in here in the dome, and some of it's nerves, some of it's new guys, and we'll just keep trying to feed that confidence, but they'll get it back. We'll keep learning what pieces are going to be what, and we'll make adjustments from there. Hitting wise, I thought we got better as the weekend went on. We had a game where we got no hit. It's baseball. It happens. I wasn't happy about it, but I found myself, I think 3-4 years ago, I thought to myself, if I'm coaching long enough, we're probably going to get a no hit at some point. We've no hit a team since I've been here. It happens. And you look at that game, we struck out 4 or 5 times. We had good at bats. Their center fielder made a diving play. It was your typical no hitter. There's 3 or 4 really good plays. We bring in Mike Boris for a pinch hit, and he hits a absolute screamer up the middle, one hopper that the pitcher snags. It's just things didn't go our way. The game started getting on, and they had no hits, and they started playing a little bit better defense, and it happens. How are we going to learn from it? And and we'll figure it out. And then that last game, you look, and we had a lot of hits. We had around 12 hits. We just didn't get the big hits. So that'll come with more experience and trusting each other, finding ways to get the job done.
Do you think for like the next part of February, Coach, you guys have a good recipe, I guess, to build a little bit and see what more of your strengths are, considering you have an open weekend before you have a couple different lineups the weekend of the 19th? Is that a good thing for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got this next week here. We take off next Wednesday again for St. George to kind of go over a few things and talk about some things that we struggled with, get that confidence back, and we'll be ready. I guarantee our guys right now are antsy to get back down to St. George and are begging for another shot. They're hungry. They want it. I want it. We're excited for that, and then we have a little break after that. So we can't wait to get down there. We're going to see Dixie State. They're going to be 14, 15 games in. I think they were top 10 in the nation last year, and then we play St. Martin's down there for 3 games. So there'll be some good tests down there.
Kyle, you were a player that adjusted particularly well right off the bat here for Minot State. Talk a little bit about that adjustment process for you to this level, and in what ways are you helping some of the younger guys this year?
I think a big thing is just knowing your roles on the team. I know my role on the team is to get on base and then score, maybe steal some bags and whatnot. And I think it was just this weekend was just more like situational hitting. We just didn't have the big hits, like Coach said, when we needed them. And like we'd have a guy on second with no outs or something, and we'd have strikeout. It was just something like that, just knowing your role. Like I even added some stuff to my game this year that I couldn't do last year. I had 2 bunt for hits in my first game that I played in. I would not have been able to do that last year. So it's just some key adjustments, making it in the game, and situational hitting. I think was a really big thing for us. We didn't do during last weekend.
Both of you guys can comment on this too. Considering the mix of, as you mentioned, Coach, a mix of veterans that have already come back and had good days at the plate, good outings on the mound. That mixed with some of these younger guys that are being sprinkled in. Are you confident that these things that you're waiting to happen, the arrival of those big hits, a couple of those breaks to go your way, are you confident that that's going to happen here in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that my freshman year, I was nervous, first couple of games. Started to settle in at the end, and I think all my hard work is paying off this year. I think it's just time and experience that kind of settles the nerves and able to perform.
I also think it's just find the right lineup, find the right guys to go in what position or what spot they need to help them to perform better. And I thought Coach was jumping around with the lineup this weekend, but I mean that's what's going to happen in your first weekend. So we'll figure it out, and he'll get the right lineup in there eventually, and that'll help us to succeed better.
Coach, as someone with your experience, someone who's seen plenty of new crops of guys coming in, and how long it takes certain guys to adjust, others it might take less time, like Kyle, and others it might take a little bit longer. Considering the group that you have here, are you confident that those things that you're waiting to happen and you're confident will happen sooner rather than later? Absolutely,
100% confident in that. And I guess the key is, for us, is we're not sitting back saying we're waiting for it to happen. We're going to make it happen. We've stressed the importance of, maybe not going through the motions or paying a little bit more attention to detail, whether you're up there hitting on the cage on your day off, or whether we're hitting off a tee, or whether we're throwing a flat ground as a pitching staff. It's just understanding the importance of some of those things. It's things that you do over and over and over and have done forever, since you played t-ball, but it's now a little bit different because now you're paying attention to detail to how you play catch. We're not going out there waiting for it to happen. We're going to make it happen, and I am 100% confident. Every season you go out there, you start off slow hitting the ball. Hopefully your pitchers can do all right. And again, there, you hear the old cliche, the motto, hitting's contagious. I think confidence and not hitting or not pitching, things like that are just as contagious. It's tough to go out there with confidence when the guys before you aren't getting the job done or they're struggling with that. It gets contagious as that goes on from guy to guy. So that's a big thing. We just got to keep fighting. Fight for what we believe in. Everyone here knows that they're a good ball player. Everyone knows that they were brought in here for a reason, and it's going to come. And we look at our lineup. The big thing is about these 4 games, and the next 4 games, and that Tucson trip is we've got more depth than we've ever had. All you've got to do is go check the box score to see that. We play 15, 16 guys through that lineup all weekend long. It's about finding roles right now, seeing who can do what. Are you a guy that can be relied on in a pitch hit situation? Are you going to be a defensive replacement? Are you a guy that can help us? So, we can't leave Dixie. We can't leave, Caldwell, Idaho, and we can't leave Tucson without knowing some of those things. When we get to conference season, we've got to know who we can lean on. We got to know who we can expect to do what, and ultimately, if there's a guy that can help this team, or there's a guy that needs to find a role for himself on this team, we're going to find that role for him. He's going to know how we're going to, what we expect, and how we're going to go about doing it when we get to conference season.